When Jo Cummins was diagnosed with bowel cancer in 2006, she didn't know that it was just the beginning of her cancer story. Over the next 3 years, she would have cancers removed from her bowel, her liver and her lungs. And Jo was not the first person in her family to have to deal with the illness.
I was diagnosed at the age of 32, and my father, about 12 years previously, had had bowel cancer and thankfully survived. So I was already aware of the illness, but had not been given any direct warning about it being something to look for in the family. My dad comes from a very large Irish family, and sadly there's been lots of cancers in his side of the family. At the same time, we seem to be a family of fighters, and we're very stubborn, and we won't let go of this life, so we keep on fighting.
Had you heard of bowel cancer when your dad was diagnosed?
I had no idea about it, and I remember that I was the first person he told, and I did feel like a bomb had just gone off, and I remember falling against the wall and just thinking, oh God, what's happening? It just crushed us.
At that stage, Jo had no idea that she too would get cancer. When she did, she had the classic combination of symptoms, a change in her bowel habits and blood in the toilet, both of which persisted for a few weeks. Jo had been diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, when she was 20, and she had a history of tummy problems.
I had severe stomach pains and bleeding in my stool, dark blood, and
going to the loo more often?
I was, but again with the IBS diagnosis at the time, I didn't really, I'd got used to that for 12 years or so, so it was a part of my life. But when I noticed the blood, that's when I thought, I think I need medical attention, I need someone to just check what's happening.
And when they told you you had bowel cancer, how did you feel?
It just felt really surreal. I mean, cancer's got such a big word, and I just remember thinking it's not really happening, it's not really real. But at the same time, my sister's first instinct was, Dad got over it, you can get over it. So even though it was scary, it is terrifying, we just thought, no, we just follow what the doctors and all the medical professionals are going to tell me to do. I'll do it and I'll get through it.
At first it seemed that Jo had beaten the cancer, but then 2 years later, after a routine hospital test, she got some very bad news.
They found secondary in the liver, a small tumour. I was just terrified. But again, I was reassured that, okay, it's a small tumour, it's confined as they could see at the time, and surgery was an option. But it doesn't stop the fear, and I think no matter what anyone says, you're always going to be fearful of unknown treatments you've never had before.
You recovered from the liver secondary surgery. What happened next?
I was diagnosed with 4 tumours across both lungs. So it's 3 in the left and 1 in the right. And that was terrifying, and it crushed me. The cancer 1 and 2, I could try and rally round and get support. 3 was tough.
Did you feel alone?
I've never felt loneliness more so than that time. You could have all your friends and support of family, but when something like that happens, you just feel so isolated and just isolated in fear. Some people have called me brave, and my dear aunt, who sadly passed away from her cancer, we hated that word. We just get on.
Jo's last operation was 3 years ago, and she really hopes it will be her last. She has a sister, Jackie. Because their father had bowel cancer and Jo had it when she was young, Jo worries there might be a genetic risk that could affect her sister in the future.
The good thing to come out of all this was the very day I was diagnosed, the consultant that diagnosed me said to my sister, "You have to get checked." So pretty much immediately, she was lined up for a colonoscopy, which she has every 18 months. So that's the protection she has, is the monitoring.
What would you say to anyone who's got bowel cancer in their family?
I think it's important to get checked out. Information and knowledge is power, and if you can get referrals and have a colonoscopy or just talk to somebody for advice, it's just securing your future, really.
After 6 tumours and 4 major operations, Jo is back at work with a busy social life and a supportive family around her. But cancer is never far from her mind.
We don't think about bowel cancer 24/7, but it's just being vigilant and being aware of anything that is out of routine. I think it's made me appreciate simple things, a walk with friends, a sing-song at a karaoke, kindness that I received when I was ill from strangers, people in the hospital. Everything that you take for granted, you suddenly look at in a different way.